In this video, we'll be adding obstacles to our no internet game. When you get your code downloaded, go ahead and run your program and just make sure that you can still jump, which is what we added last time. You will notice that we added a bug into our game from last time. So if you hit jump, you can also jump in the middle of the air, which is obviously not something that we want to do because that would make our game extremely easy. So let's go ahead and fix that before we start adding obstacles to this game. So we're going to scroll down to the main event loop, specifically where we hit the space button. So right now you notice that anytime the player hits the space key, we allow them to jump. But to fix this problem, we only want them to jump when they are in the standing state, or when they are on the ground line. So what we're going to do to fix that is just add another if statement here to check to make sure that they're standing. So we're going to say if player.state equals standing, then we're going to allow them to jump. Okay, so we'll save that. I'm going to close out of this one. We'll test this, and then you'll notice now it doesn't matter how many times you try to spam that space key in the middle of the air, you're only actually able to jump on the ground line. So good. Alright, so what we're going to be adding in this is obstacles. Okay, so we're going to start by making a single obstacle type, which will be a small obstacle, which will have a width of 25 and a height of 25. And the way that we will be having our obstacles move in our game is they will start by spawning off the screen on the right side. So when they first spawn, you won't see them. And then they will move at a continuous velocity, meaning their speed will stay the same toward the left side of the screen, toward the player. And then the obstacle will disappear once it gets completely off the left side. So that means it'll go fully off the left side of the screen and then disappear, and then it will spawn right back to where it started off the right side of the screen, and that will just, this process will basically just keep repeating. And then eventually we will get it so that we have different types of obstacles, like taller ones or wider ones, to add a little bit more variety to our game. So let's go ahead and start by adding a obstacle class. So in our code here, we're going to go up to our class section, and then I'm going to kind of minimize our player class, and then we're going to make our obstacle class. We'll start that with the class keyword, and then we're going to call this one obstacle. Alright, and then we're going to first define the x parameter here. So we said that the x parameter, it's going to start on the x all the way to the right of the screen. So remember, that is the width property. And then we're also going to tell it to go a little bit extra. So I'm going to say plus 25 here, just so that there's no single pixel still on the screen. All right, and then for the y, it's gonna stay on the ground line, so that means that that is going to be height divided by 2. And then for the width for this one, just like what we said on the doc, that is going to be 25, and the height is also going to be 25. Okay, we'll also give it a velocity attribute, and we'll just stick that at 5 for now. We can always adjust that if that needs to be faster or slower later. Okay, next let's go ahead and add the update method. So this will look very similar to the update one that we kind of had in our player class. So we know that because the obstacle is going to be moving across the right side of the screen, so it's going to be going from the right to the left. That means that we're going to be decreasing the x of this. So that means we're going to be saying self.x minus equals self.velocity. Okay, so that will cause the x to decrease. And then what we want it to do is we want it to reset back to the right side of the screen. And to do that, first we have to detect, to check if it is on the left side of the screen, to tell it to disappear and then go back to where it was. Okay, so we're going to say if self.x is less than or equal to 0. So 0 we know is the far left side of the screen, but we want it to completely disappear off of that. We don't want it to hit the left edge and then disappear while we can still see it. We want it to completely move off the left side, so that means we need to do 0 minus its width. So we're going to say minus self.width. Alright, and then we're going to tell it to just go basically back to where it started, which was width plus 25. So we'll say self.x equals width plus 25. Okay. And then our last method here will be to simply just draw it. So we'll add a draw method. And then this is actually going to be really similar to the player, so I'm going to expand the player class, and then I'm just going to grab this line here, minimize that again, and then I will paste it down here. There will be a few changes that we'll want to make. We don't need the height divided by 2. And then the color, it would be kind of boring if this had the same color, so why don't we just make a new color. I'm going to make green. And then down here, notice we have not defined green yet, so let's go ahead and define green. All right, remember these colors are red first, green second, then blue. So we're going to put 0 for red, 255 for green, and 0 for blue. Okay, so that is our standard obstacle class that's done. We're going to scroll down now to the main event sections, and we're going to say, actually let's make our object first. So go up here to where we have player, we'll say obstacle, and then we're going to just call our obstacle class just to make an object first. Okay, so we have an object that's called obstacle, and then now we can put our function calls here. So we can say obstacle.update in the update section, and then also in the draw section, we'll just say obstacle.draw. Okay, and that should do it. So let's go ahead and run. All right, and right off the bat, you will see that our obstacles are spawning off the right. So right when they first appear, we don't really see it, but we can kind of see them moving off the left here. And we almost have a playable game here. So where we have our jump, we're able to jump over our obstacles. All right, next video we will get some different types of obstacles spawning in. So thanks, see you next time.